Welcome to Small Steps. My name is Jason Elder, and today I want to get Seth Potts' final take on this show. As Small Steps, we're looking to close out the show, and of course, with me is Seth. Seth, how we doing?
Not too bad. How you doing, Jason?
I am doing well. So you got 61 episodes in, and I am really proud of the work and effort that you've done to make this show what it is. And wanted to give
Yeah,
you an opportunity as we create this final episode, just to get your take on things.
yeah. It's been I don't know. Sometimes it feels long. Sometimes it feels short. 61 once a week with a couple weeks skip for this or that holidays things. Yeah, but it's definitely been a bit of a ride.
Yeah,
Something a
yeah.
little new for me in my experience.
Yeah, and
Um,
this show's been known as like the Cliff Notes for Excel. So it's
yeah,
it real quick issues that you might be having in Excel and how to get around some of the roadblocks. And so
yeah.
what are some of the lessons learned from the show as you've produced it, the
Well,
61
uh,
episodes?
yeah. Well, one, I go kudos to you. Doing something like recorded like this, you think it'd be easier just because you can stop, erase, go back. But for some reason, it just seems a lot tougher to get through something than if I was just live speaking off the cuff. So uh, that's one thing I've learned is as easy as it seems. Putting together a few minutes of a video, it took a little while to get used to. So yeah, anyone that does these podcast and videos stuff. Man, hats off to you guys. It was a bit of a struggle for me. So that was one thing in particular. Um, I find it
Yeah.
much easier to be in person than a recording, and then you become a over perfectionist. And maybe if I just go back and try that again, again, and yeah, sometimes these videos. Even though they want to be in 5 minutes, took me over an hour because I'm like, nah, I hated that. you know, you don't have that option when you're doing it live.
That's
Uh,
true.
yeah,
Editing can be a bear. It does seem
yeah,
like it's either one end or the other. Either you're
yeah,
doing a lot of prep work to make sure that you
yeah,
nail the recording the first or second time, or you're
yeah,
going through it multiple
yeah,
times and then maybe doing a lot of editing on the
yeah,
back end to make sure things are just right. So
yeah.
it,
I had a bit of both.
yeah, and it does take a lot, and again, you said an hour for like a 5-minute video sometimes, and so
Oh yeah, yeah,
it definitely does get that way in some respects.
yeah.
So, and then I guess, do you have either uh, a favorite episode or a recent episode feedback
Uh,
from this
y-
calendar year? I know we had
yeah,
the
yeah,
wrap up show in 2022, so we've got about a half a
yeah,
year here of videos.
yeah. I can't say it was just one, but there's something from this year. And it kind of goes along the lines with doing these little short videos, little you know related to crime analysis, how to do this or that. And I mean, Excel is not just for crime analysis. It's pretty
Hmm.
wide. In fact, most of the examples you normally see are for sales and business. The things in Excel are very easy. It's a lot of the things that I talk about are very simple format. It's here are the arguments. Here's the three things you're looking at, and it does this. And here's a real quick example. One thing that I had two different, and I'm going to forget one of their names, but I did get some feedback on one of them. I think it was on the Z scores was one of them. Um, and it just goes to show you that there are there's always more than one way to do something. And
Hmm.
I did have somebody, I think, I don't know if you're familiar with. I know. I think I've gone to one of his classes before. Actually, Andrew Wheeler,
Oh yeah,
super
recognize the
super
name.
smart, super smart dude. And he had commented on oh, here's a way that I've done this, and it's more accurate. And I definitely don't doubt that. And I thought about contacting you, kind of getting into it and be like, how did you do it? What are you? it'd be redoing a video and saying, instead of doing this, you could do this.
Mhm.
Which I thought about doing, but yeah, I got some good feedback from people like that. Like I say, they're yeah, that's great, but you could do this, and just kind of, instead of stealing their thunder and
Mhm.
taking their stuff and showing it, like, it's just another way of looking at it, that it's not always just one way to do something, and sometimes there could be better ways to do it. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of that's some creative thinking, along with, you get into the academia side of stuff. Yeah, maybe you don't want to do just the basic. Maybe you want to really hone in on stuff. Excel still would allow you to do some of that. It might just be more complex.
Mhm.
But I got feedback on a couple of those, with some pretty good feedback and links to websites and stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to see people actually watching, and
Yeah.
I appreciate
Mhm.
that feedback. And I probably didn't do a whole lot of reaching back out to people, but since we're talking now, yeah, I do appreciate that feedback, and I think is really good to see that, yeah, people can come up with stuff even beyond, some of these videos. Maybe these videos can help you just take off with your thought
Yeah.
process, and you can improve on it. I think there's always room for improvement and better ways of doing things, but
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully it was at least a starting point on some of these things.
Yeah, and I think how we marketed it was as well. We marketed it like,
Yeah,
here's the issue and here's the function, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you got so whether you were working on a situation where you knew the problem, but you didn't
yeah,
know that maybe the Excel function or the solution,
yeah,
you could find it, or maybe you were
yeah,
looking at the function in Excel and wondering like, what does that actually do?
yeah. Oh yeah.
You could find the video there as well.
Well,
So
I say most of the videos I found to help me with some of my videos, you take a little bit of it and you run with it.
yeah.
And it should be no different. Someone could take some of the videos I did and dashboards, this or that, and be like, yeah, I could use that, but you know what I could do with that is this.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's always an option. I say it's kind of crazy how well Excel can work for you, even though it's fairly simple.
Yeah.
Overall product, practically free for most people in their office.
Yeah, yeah, but it was important. People learn by speaking their language, though. So the
Yeah,
fact that you were able to take some of these concepts from Excel and put a law enforcement analysis spin on them, it
yeah,
spoke the language to so many analysts.
yeah, yeah. And I definitely picked up some stuff myself along the way. Trying to come up with a video every day. There's only so much I actually do,
Yeah.
especially being in a small department. That
Uh,
I mean, I did a lot of learning and able to in order to make a video. And actually, I mean, that was a pretty good payback on my end. I got something out of this as well. I got to learn
mhm,
quite a bit more than um, what I already knew, and it just
mhm.
shows you how vast it is. And yeah, you can watch these videos, but also you dig more into them. Look at some of the websites that have a lot of Excel functions and formulas, and dig in yourselves. Uh,
Before we get to the final word, one last question. Did you Do you still hate your own voice?
Absolutely. It's nauseating. I wouldn't go back and, like, went back and watched the videos just enough, like one time, just to make sure my video recorded right and I didn't blank out somewhere. But yeah, it was like one and done. I was like, I'll just bury it and never look at it, listen to it again.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
Well, hey, I do want to give you the last word, but again, thank you for the 61 videos that
yeah,
you did for the channel and your effort and contribution to LEA podcast. I do appreciate all that you've
yeah.
done for the
Oh,
channel. So
absolutely.
I'll just turn it over to you and let you close out this
Yeah.
episode.
Well, I mentioned it, um, one of the recordings before, maybe more towards the beginning of doing this. And thoughts always, if always be willing to help if you can help. Help. It's not. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be the best at something. If you think you can help or think someone could use your help, yeah, by all means, offer it. I mean, this is something for me that, um, kind of like I mentioned on some of these before. I'm not the academia person. In fact, I was the one that figured out how many classes I could miss and still get an A kind of thing, and so this branched out into a different world for me. And like I said, some of the feedback I got from people much smarter than me um, is just don't ever sell yourself short. You'd be surprised at who can get help from you, from something, something that you think's easy might be an unknown for somebody else. And especially in this world of the crime analysis and working in the different police departments, different you know uh, whether you're working for local government, wherever you are, I mean, what you're doing is important. And I would never say that you're done learning. Um, so never shut yourself off from learning. And definitely, if you have something to share, feel free to share it.
Mhm.
You'd be surprised at who might find it helpful. I know I was on this, getting some good feedback from different people here and there. I didn't know if people were watching this or not,
Mhm.
to be honest. And um, yeah, so I've gotten some good feedback beyond that, and people asking if I'd um, hop on calls or this or that with them, and I love doing it, and it's something I enjoy doing. So, yeah, don't limit yourself and think that you can't help other people, or that they know more. I mean, like I said, some of this, Jason, you were the one, like when I started the conference and stuff. I'm like, Jason, he's the Excel guy. I mean, that's the guy that if I had any kind of in-depth question, that's who I'd go to. So, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that can help you, and you could help them. So kind of the way we work with our jobs and crime analysis is a cog in the machine. And help each other, and makes your job easier, and I think more cohesive for your job as a whole. So I definitely echo that sentiment I had from the get-go. That hasn't changed. In fact, it's maybe only gotten a little stronger for me, is that don't be afraid to help. And it's okay. It's okay to take that criticism and that feedback. If your heart's in the right place, trying to help other people, hey, they listen or they don't, it doesn't matter. Offer up that help to each other.
Yeah, good. Well, we still have these videos up there, and if there is somebody in the audience that has a question,
Yeah.
email us at leapodcasts@gmail.com, and we will certainly get you an answer, get you more information to your issue. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not, even if I'm not doing these shows anymore, if you guys get that to me, I'm more than happy to answer questions and give you my information, and happy to chat with you as well. So I will continue to do that. Not a problem.